The stakes have never been higher. The competition has never been stronger. 42 drivers, 25 rounds. One will be crowned champion. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Tune in Wednesday nights on the iRacing Esports Network to watch the cars and stars of Lionheart, the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment. DeVries, Scott, and Stephen McGarvey. Our three champions from last season found themselves battling hard at what is likely to become one of the more unique periods in Autobahn's history. A brief foray into the LMP1 cars gave us a great race, but small fields. In a return to tradition, the HPD jumps back to the fastest spot, and the GTE cars become the middle child once more. But a new classification system for drivers might just give us some fantastic and unpredictable action down in the GT3 cars. The old and the new will come together at a track that has become tradition in itself here in the series. Daytona will host the first race yet again as we get ready to watch the opening round of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge, and you'll see it all live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth covering the prototype and GTLM classes is Bill Soup Zahn. Keeping us up on the GTD class is Taylor Burris. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Taylor, Daytona's road course is definitely going to be unique compared to the other circuits we'll visit during the championship.
Yes, indeed, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing. Located in my home state of Daytona Beach, Florida, this 3.5-mile or 5.7-kilometer 12-turn circuit is the pinnacle of all motor racing. Opened in 1959 as part of a major idea by Big Bill France Sr., this track has opened to some of the major races in the United States, preferably one of the most notable ones with sports car racing, the 24 Hours of Daytona. Drivers from around the world have come to compete at this race to try to take on this 24 hours of grueling racing. To give you the fan to see what it is like to take on this difficult but yet fun course, let us go on board for a GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Taylor Burris in the GSRC 4 GT, so let's do a lap around Daytona. Right away, you've got the difficult braking for turn 1 to tackle. The transition off of the banking can often unsettle the car, plus you're turning and braking most of the way into the corner. Despite all this, it's still one of the most popular places to pass on the lap. As we weave through the little chicane, bring the car back to the left and you'll be braking for the International Horseshoe. You might sometimes see passes into here when the opportunity presents itself. There's a little access road off to the left of the exit too, which because it's paved, it's all fair game to use when getting the power down. We'll drift it back across, and in these GTE cars, the kink is easily flat out. But the best racing line is to hug the car to the left side to give yourself a nice entry into the Western Horseshoe. The tricky thing here is the way the corner tightens in the middle. It makes hitting the apex a bit of a pain. Turn 6, which will be the last one of the infield section, is probably one of the most important of the lap. Failing to get a good exit here will cost you a bunch of time on the oval portion. Plus, you'll want to protect yourself from attack by preventing the car behind you from getting as much of a slipstream as possible. Jumping ahead to the bus stop, it's going to be tempting to make an overtake into here, but any side-by-side racing is terribly risky and often doesn't end well. Once again, because we'll be flat out for a while, getting on the throttle smoothly and early will pay big dividends. And just like before, draft battles are probably going to be playing out all day. But as we bring it to the line at the tri-oval, you've now hopefully finished a lap around Daytona. There you see a lap around Daytona in the GTLM class, at least with the 4 GT. Now, let's take a look at the championship, how it wound up last season, and a look back at the 3 classes that have now changed. Bill?
I'm going to hustle through this. We got 3 classes, but actually 5 overlays to show you. So there's a rookie championship as well as a team championship. Let's go with the LMP1s. Now, the silly season has these guys shuffling around a bit. You see Jason Verrice getting the win there. He got it by 16 points over Cy Andre. You can see the rest of the guys who finished those out. The guy to keep an eye on was Mike Young in 3rd. How about Lionel Duprat had a real good season as well as he made the overlay in 5th. Let's look at the LMP2s now. This was Scott McGarvey. He was able to be consistent, get in there with 384 points, just 5 better than Billy Smith the second try. The guy who was maybe fastest all season long was Jason Girard, but too many missed events cost him the championship. Ross Booth and Sheldon Roosevelt. Hey, Sheldon makes it in there, sneaking onto the overlay. Let's go to the GTE class now, and that's where it was Scott's brother Steven gets the championship there, 22 points ahead of the Comet, Bradley Haley. Paul Darling slipped down a spot into 3rd. You can see Alex Simonik and Dave Hill rounding out the overlay. We go to the AM Championship. Now, this season, all the AM champions are going to be lumped together in the GTD class. So we're only going to have AM champions there, or guys competing for the AM championship, kind of the gentleman's division. You can see Paul Lindsay got the win over Kevin Santana. That went down to the very last race. Lindsay was able to sneak up and steal that championship away from Santana, who really wanted it. Emmanuel Ajiri is in there in third, Sammy Scott, and Tim McLeish. McLeish gets on the overlay, 108 points back. Finally, the team championship. Now, that's going to be shaken up a little bit this year. We'll talk more about the new team rules as we progress down the road. They're going to have 4 drivers per team, though. That's one thing to tell you, and they're broken up by platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. We'll talk more as it goes along. SRN Motorsports Black got the championship over TMC Racing. TMC Carbon is in there as well. The longtime team Autobahn Motorsports West, they are back, but they're under a new banner, I believe, SRN Motorsports Orange, rounding out the overlay. All right, Joe, there's all your points. We'll talk more about that as the season progresses. And now let's go down to Taylor. We'll talk about the race details.
Thanks on that, Bill. And this is a new season, but this is our opening round here at Daytona. Of course, this is a 14-race season. And as you see, we have 3 different classes, but let's take a look at some of the new additions that we have. Of course, we have the HPD back covering as the fastest class. But look in the GTLMs. We, of course, have our returning favorites, the Porsche, the Ford, and the Ferrari. But now that BMW M8s joined the picture. And noticing throughout this practice session, we have a couple of those, and they're looking mighty fast. And then, of course, our GTD class, or GT3 spec cars. These are the Mercedes and the Audi R8. Of course, the setups here are open, so the drivers are allowed to make setup adjustments to help make the car run through the track better, but the fuel is restricted, so these guys will definitely have to come in to make multiple pit stops throughout this race. Of course, this is one of our longer races here, a 90-minute race for these drivers, so a lot of issues could happen, so drivers are going to have to remain patient for this race. And then, of course, the incident cap, which means if a driver makes contact with another car, with the barriers, goes off track, or spins out, they will rack up incident points. If they hit 36 points, they will be disqualified and unable to continue for the race. So, Joe, it's a new season. I'm looking forward to get started.
And I am too. It'll take us a little bit to get accustomed to the teams since many of the drivers have stayed with similar teams, but they've shuffled around, so we'll try and keep abreast of that. We're watching Brandon Guardacia currently out with the prototypes who are finishing up their qualifying. He's running in 7th. Gerard is currently our pole sitter, and he's flanked by the Big Cheese, who returns to racing regularly once again on that front row. But Bill, we're seeing some names return from old, I guess you could say. Look at Daniel Benefield sitting there in 3rd. He certainly caused a stir last time he was around.
Yeah, sneaky fast. He'll steal a win, and you won't know what happened down there. Talk about the Big Cheese returning. I think he's happy. He's feeling good. His personal schedule is all worked out. He's looking to make a full assault on it, and his favorite car is back at the fastest of the class. So watch out for him in that Honda prototype.
Just as we went there, Syandra took 3rd away from Benefield, who we ride on board with now. He's getting ready to complete this lap. See if he can improve on that 33.9 through the tri-oval. Number 34 car hits another 33.9. He's within 1/10 of a second, but that's not going to be enough to jump him up. In fact, he gets bumped by yet another fast driver. Billy Smith finds himself in 2nd place now on that front row. Looking down at our AM class that Taylor is going to be covering, we've also got a few new faces down there. Hopefully that's with all the new regs coming in. That's why we're seeing some faces down there, Taylor.
Yeah, it is. There's a couple of new drivers we see there. We see Trevor Pavlovsky coming into the series, looking strong, currently sitting in the top 5 in the GT class. But one of the things that surprised me is we see some of our drivers that were running in the prototype P1 class last season, such as Lionel Duprat and then Alan Hasebeck, who was running in the LMP2 class last season. These drivers are coming back here to run this class, so I'm interested to see how are they able to handle this brand new type of car for them. There's a lot of difference compared to a GT car from an LMP1 car, so going to be very interesting to see how these drivers are handling it. And so far, not too bad, as both drivers are going to be lining up side by side when we go racing here.
Joe, we talked about Trevor Borowski. Our director, Sean Ambrose, and I were reminiscing. We got to meet Borowski way back when we were covering the We Stand United League. It was a stock car league that ran a full season on one of the nights. I think it might have been Sunday nights. I can't remember. But the Grizzly guys are here. They put a little claw in over in the majors and now have decided to come over here. 4 of them is Travis Henderson, Dawson Brock is going to be part of that one, along with Joshua the Howlin' Wolf that's coming over with Trevor Borowski. So keep an eye on Grizzly. They could be a team to watch out for.
Certainly could. Jason DeVries also has gone over to the GTLM class. He was our champion, as we mentioned, in the LMP1 class last season. Now, with these new teams, we mentioned that they've changed how you can join teams together. That is related to licenses similar, if you've ever followed IMSA or the WEC, the Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze license system. Now, that has been done through a system of, I believe, the points that drivers average out on their official racing with iRacing. And they've done a very, very careful job to make sure that people have been grouped together according to skill. Not necessarily speed, mind you, but where they tend to finish the race, because that is the most important bit of this. And essentially, we don't want to go through all the details, but all you need to know is that only silver or bronze drivers can compete in the GTD class. That has become effectively a AM championship. And they can compete in the HPDs or the GTEs, the prototypes of the GTLMs, if the silver or bronze drivers want to, mind you. But if you are a platinum or gold, your choices are prototypes or GTLM. You have a certain number of points that each of those licenses give you, and you have to stay under 29 points to be able to fill a team, and you need one in each class, prototype, GTLM, and GTD, to be able to score team points. So that is how they've managed to ensure that the AM Championship is now in the slowest class, and that they've spread things out evenly so that you can get one in each.
I approve. I like what they did. They've always had an iRacing cap, an iRating cap in this series, and
it's a lot simpler.
Yeah, you can kind of game it a little bit, and this works out really well, and I think it's a good advancement, a step up.
Absolutely. It keeps, like you said, keeps them from gaming the system, because your results over a period of time in iRacing tend to tell the tale, even if your iRating does not. So looking at the qualifying, Gerard continues to increase his gap, which is not by much. Currently only 4/100ths of a second faster than Benefield. Kevin O'Keefe down in 9th has fielded the team. He is very proud of this. They are called, I believe it is Team Warm-Up Lap. Is that what it was? What it is?
That makes sense for him.
Yeah. He has a little bit of a slide coming through turn 1. Taylor, this is going to be interesting as well, because I believe, if I recall correctly, this is going to be an evening race as we watch Ulmer come out.
Yes, this will be a nighttime race, so a lot of cooler temperatures, so the speeds are going to definitely be up in those lower numbers that we see right now. So it's going to be quite a fast-paced race. So these 90 minutes are going to go real quickly, but it's going to be an exciting race to watch. Always love watching night racing here at Daytona.
Taking a look at some of our other major players. We've not got much time left here in the last bit. Is that you, Bill?
No, I believe that was Sean moaning about something our director
okay.
having issues with.
Tell us we're heading to Mole, sorry.
Well, speaking of Dean Mole, he's actually jumped up into the LMP2 class after was driving in GTE, so it's a nice jump for him. Hopefully he's able to do well in that LMP2 car.
Let's go to Peterson, currently down in 14th. This actually surprises me. Peterson has shown quite a bit of speed in the GTLM cars, what were the GTEs last season, as well as the other series, but I guess the prototype maybe just doesn't jive with him as well?
Yeah, he's been around a long time in this series, but I don't remember seeing him in an open cockpit like this. We'll see. Give him a little while to get used to this. Now, here's a guy who can race, Brandon Garacci, but again, he's in a new car as well.
He's faring pretty well. He's on the 3rd row in P6, so he comes across to start what will probably be his final lap if he can get this one in.
I got to confess with you, Joe. I am just... all the silly season has me a bit out of sorts here as I look at guys racing in different cars. So it's going to take me a race to get used to it. What is, what's Billy Smith doing up here in a prototype? This is catching me by surprise.
Well, he did run a prototype last season. It was just the middle class.
That's true.
The LMP2s.
Okay. You know what? You're right. That's a good point. See? That's just I'm too old to do this. Give me a race.
All right, Daniel Benefield currently sitting in second, going to be the first to cross the line to complete qualifying. Number 34 on a 1:33.6 as his fastest lap. He needs 4/100ths of a second. Is this going to be enough? He does not improve a 33.6. He'll stay in second place. Kevin O'Keefe now crossing the line as well. This lap not going to count, so the last one's going to be the best for him. He'll be seventh when the green flag waves. Peterson going to try and improve from that P15. Third last in his class right now. A 34.7 becomes a 34.6. That actually jumps him up a number of positions. Only a 10th got him up to P11. And that is going to be our qualifying. The grid is set, so let's go through your starting order with the prototypes first. Jason Girard may have missed out on the championship in the GTEs last season, or excuse me, the LMP2s rather, but he's going to start on the pole this time. Daniel Benefield returns to the Autobahn Series, starting P2 with Cy Andra. The main rival in the LMP1s fighting for that championship, he'll be P3. Billy Smith will start fourth with John Ulmer in P5. Then it's Brandon Garcia starting sixth. Kevin O'Keefe coming out swinging, starting P7. He's got a good chance for a top 5 here today. Dean Mole will be 8th, and Scott McGarvey will be starting 9th, one of our champions from last season as well. Robert Kanchin will start 10th, and then Leif Peterson in his final lap manages to jump up to 11th. Then it's Carter Kundiger starting 12th, followed by Travis Henderson in the 13th spot. David Sockrider will start in 14th, and Liam Quinn in 15th. Dale Green starts P16, the last of the cars to get a lap in, and actually all cars managed to get laps in the prototypes, and that is Mark Wilson rounding out that field. Bill?
Got one familiar name and one rookie up in the front row. It's Alex Simonik on pole. The rookie is Oliver Tricati. I'll take that with clam sauce, please. Mike Young and William Lester make row 2. Ryan Huff, Deep Freeze. Jason DeVries is down there, qualified in 6th. Watch for him to work his way through the field. Paul Lindsay and Lyndon Swaby fill up the next row, followed by Dave Hill and Stephen McGarvey way down in 10th position. Daniel Gralti, Chris Costa after that. Tyler Guillemette, Joshua Howlin' Wolf, one of the Grizzly boys down there. Sheldon Rosenbaum, Joshua Human, Ross Booth, Armando Edwards, Mark Schindel, and finally the last car out there is Joey Tunde. Okay, Taylor, who you got?
Starting on the pole position in the GTD class will be Kevin Santana. Alongside him will be Scott Corbin in the 2nd position. Tim McLeish will start in 3rd position alongside Shane Hunter in 4th, with Gerard Gilbert in the 5th position. Trevor Varvosky will start in 6th, followed by Lionel Duprat in 7th. Alan Haseback will start in the 8th position in GTD. In 9th position, Robert Jackman, followed by Mike Major rounding out the top 10 in GTD. As we go through the rest of the field, it'll be Sheldon Willoshin, Matt Owens, Robert Schlenka, Jay Frells, Marty Jeffries, Mark Trudowski, and Art Peck. Those will be rounding out your 54-car field. I'm looking forward to this race, gentlemen.
It is a lot of cars out there. Thankfully, we don't expect traffic to be as much of an issue at a track like this, although there is some concern because they've moved back to GTE class and GT3 class cars. Apparently the pace difference around here is kind of slim, so we might see a little bit of overlap as things progress. They will split them at the start, but there will be some very fast GTD drivers who might find themselves having to pass some GTLM cars. So let's go with our traditional start to all the races here in Autobahn. Bill, what are your picks for round 1?
All right, it's got to be Daniel Benefield, qualified 2nd. Look at him get the best of Jason Girard there. We go down to the, what are we calling the next group? Is LMP2s? Is not anymore. What do we call them this one?
GTLM?
GTLM is what we got down here. Thank you, Joe. I do my homework here. All right, I don't know anything about this rookie, Oliver Tricati, but I like his name, so I'm going to go with that guy, number 52, to get the win. Taylor, who you got down there in the GTDs?
Well, you can't go wrong with a front runner in the championship from last season, Kevin Santana. But Art goes with also the kinetic driver, Scott Corbin. I'm pretty sure Corbin winning tonight's race.
Off the backstretch, they do a truncated pace lap, as we now have the Porsche pace car leading them around for the first time in the Autobahn Series. Those prototypes getting lined up amongst each other as we look out the back window, waiting to get the first laps in of Season 8 in the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge.
I'm going to go 28 for 28 in predictions this year. I'm just telling you, I got my first 2, so I'm tracking them.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
They're coming off of turn 4, getting ready for the pace car to peel in. It is Jason Gerard who is going to control the field. Green flag is out as we get ready to go racing for a full Autobahn series. Gerard gets a good jump. Second contact in the very first corner. Who is that spinning around? That's Cy Andra facing the wrong way. Has to let the whole field by. Everybody else is through clean.
My guy's much more behaved than yours. Alex Simonic gets the jump on Turcotti. Dropping down into the 3rd position is Mike Young, William Lesser. They go down into the first corner. I'll follow them through. Everybody is clean, even though they're 3 wide. Taylor?
Evan Santana gets a great jump, but Scott Corbin's going to try to sneak into the inside, though. Still a clean start down into turn 1. It is going to be Santana leading Scott Corbin. We still, though, have 3rd with Tim McLeish trying to take a peek to the inside, while Shane Hunter follows in 4th position. But so far, no issues going into turn 1 in the GTDs.
Other than that contact we had in the LMP, or in the prototypes, I got to get out of that habit. That was a clean start. I'm sure there might be a few words between Cy and Benefield, as Benefield did get into a few altercations, or disagreements, I guess we should say, with other drivers the last season he competed.
Yeah, Benefield not scared to mix it up a bit.
He's dropped back a little bit from Jason Gerard, about half a second behind. If anything, it's John Ulmer behind him, who's starting to threaten, looking at that 2nd place. The red and white machine not interested in passing, though. He gives a big lift as they come through the tri-oval and just stays behind Benefield. We were talking about this before the race a little bit, Taylor, that fuel could be a concern. So I wonder if Ulmer's already thinking that far ahead.
It is a possibility he could be thinking that far ahead right now, trying to save a little bit of fuel. We do have an off, though, for one of our GTD competitors. Jay Farrell hit the wall hard going into the Western Horseshoe. He has taken it behind the wall. I don't think he is going to be able to continue.
I think fuel is only going to be an issue in the prototype class. I think the Le Mans class and the GTDs are going to be fine. Oh, look at this little bump going on. There you see it.
Daniel Benefield. What happened there? Who was that with?
It's a little karma, baby.
Taking a look at the replay, because I actually missed this on my screen.
That's Jason Gerard who got into the tail of him. Turned around, scooting right through it was John Ulmer. Big Cheese was 2nd onto the scene. He scoots down underneath.
That puts Ulmer in the lead now. And Billy Smith is following in 2nd place. Also want to point out Kevin O'Keefe, because of that, finds himself on the podium. Now, O'Keefe actually might have had contact with the inside wall of turn 1 at the start of this lap. Hopefully that's not the case, because that could put some damage on the car, which will be costly around here. Now, we've watched this quite a bit, but we haven't checked in on the GTLMs quite yet. Let's look at the leader over there, Simonic, up at the front. It's really a closer battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, actually.
Yeah, Simonic running away with it. Oliver Turcotti back there holding off Mike Young, William Lester. I just want to follow up a little bit on the prototypes. It was your leader was Jason Gerard. He blew the apex into the first hairpin, the first horseshoe, and then that's what let Benefield get by. Then Benefield got tapped, and that let Ulmer get through the lead. So a lot of action going on that lap.
A lot of contact. Gracia's had some problems that sent him to the pits. So not sure what happened there. We completely missed that. In the meantime, we got a spin in the GTLMs. That is Ross Booth. He's down 17th in that class and continuing to fall down the order. Take a look at what happened to Ross. The number 3 car doesn't look like he made contact, Bill. But into turn 1, he was in the thick of a bunch of cars and somehow avoided all of them.
Yeah, he was coming around Joshua Wolf. Got woed up. He didn't want to get into the back of the 2 cars in front of him were Hill and Costa.
He gets it going again eventually. So let's take a peek now down at the GTDs. Understand the battle for second over there is staying relatively close.
It is. It's a 4-car battle for second. Santana's starting to pull away by a couple of car lengths, but Scott Corbin has Tim McLeish along with a couple of other drivers of Shane Hunter and Trevor Varvosky right on his tailpipes as they go into NASCAR 1 and 2. It has been starting to break away just a little bit now as they get on that straightaway, but these drivers are just utilizing the slipstream to try to close in on each other as they set up maybe for an opportunity to pass going into the bus stop chicane. But Scott Corbin's doing a really excellent job of holding the lights of Tim McLeish, but it's still having to pull away though and try to keep up with Kevin Santana, who is starting to pull away just by about 4 or 5 car lengths.
We're not getting a replay of it, but on lap 2, a couple veterans, Sheldon Woloshin and Lionel Duprat, got together, and they both are taking pit stops.
A lot has happened when we weren't looking. We've actually had a change for the lead. John Ulmer is now behind Billy Smith. I believe these two are teammates, if not in sister teams. So it doesn't seem like they're fighting too terribly hard. This could be just a little bit of dancing back and forth to either save fuel or increase the gap over third place O'Keefe.
Billy got the pass done on the front straight, going into the first corner, just a typical move. Ulmer didn't put up much of a fight.
On board with the big cheese right now, looking up at our race leader. A little bit too far behind to have a pass up towards turn 1 at this point. I know we've been jumping around a lot, but there's been quite a bit of action everywhere. Let's go back to P2 and GTLM, because Turcotte, Young, and Laster still right on top of each other.
Yeah, not for long. Here comes the run from Mike Young if he wants it. I'm not sure if he does. He had a nice run. He's going to wait. They got the bus stop ahead. Maybe Young's going to do it out of the bus stop. Laster back there watching the whole thing as well. Let's stay on this a bit. Young does not get great drive out of the bus stop, though. Plenty of time to get caught up in the draft.
Now, the beautiful thing I've noticed about this series, the PRL, they've got these GTE cars, but they only have 3 of them, even though you're allowed to use all 4. We've got all 4 mates out here today.
Couple Porsches we're looking at right now with a Ferrari watching on. Maybe a little manufacturer orders there as they're just going to go into corner number 1 in the same order they came out of the bus stop.
Yeah, I think you're right. Doesn't look like any of them are too interested this early in the race, fighting too hard. Down towards the infield, your order still Turcotte leading, or excuse me, Simonic leading, Turcotte second, and Young third. Go ahead.
Let's go back to DeVries back there, a little farther back. I guess it'd be 20th overall. I think probably, what, 5th in class. DeVries in a battle with Huff, Stephen McGarvey, and Paul Lindsay. Now, DeVries has worked his way through. Yeah, and then...
And sorry, the reason I bring this up is because Linden is part of Team Kinetic, another one that has come over from the majors, much like the Grizzly guys.
You know, we can
change for the lead. Yeah,
it's a dance, not a race. I don't mean to nonchalant the pass for the lead, but there's some cooperation going on up there. Absolutely.
Now, here's a driver we haven't checked in on a bit since his problems earlier on. This is Daniel Benefield, who I'm seeing scored in 4th, but on my screen, I'm seeing him 3rd. So I'm not sure if our overlay there is correct. He's gotten by Kevin O'Keefe.
He got around the Scarlet Knight of Kevin O'Keefe back there. So Kevin back and forth. He was running on the podium spot. Kevin, I wanted to get to you before you lost that podium spot. Maybe get a love on your podcast, but sorry.
We've also need to give a little love to the GTDs because the first place battle, Kevin Santana finds himself, Taylor, under threat.
He is. Scott Corbin is reeling him little bit by little bit. Has a great run out of the bus stop chicane. He's going to utilize that slipstream to close in now under a car length between the 2 drivers. It is now a 2-horse race between the 2 Mercedes. As we see, Scott Corbin now takes a peek to the outside now as they come across the line. Scott Corbin's still going to try to hold on as we now have LMP2 or prototype traffic coming up upon them right now going into turn 1. Let's see if the prototype's going to be a little patient, but it looks like Corbin cannot try to complete the pass the long way around. He's going to have to be patient and let this prototype probably get by before they get into the International Horseshoe.
Yeah, that is Garcia, who's laps down from his class, very much stuck in the midst of these GTD cars. He's also being followed by Scott McGarvey, who is laps down as well. I think they're actually in the same lap, so despite being far away from the rest of their group, they seem to be battling for position, though split by GTD cars.
But I love this new rule package, because look what this does. It makes this battle for Kevin Santana and Scott Corbin. When we were covering the AM Championship, Joe, we had to make sure to kind of stick it in there almost as an afterthought. Now it is a major part of this series.
Absolutely. This is for the win in the GTDs.
Yeah, I'm looking through the field right now. A majority of this class is Mercedes. They have a little bit more of that extra power, a little bit on the BOP side compared to the Audis here at Daytona. So it's nice to see a lot of Mercedes, but a little bit of the Audis drivers are trying to do quite well. Gerard Gilbert, one of the higher running Audis, currently sitting inside the top 10.
Certainly not as popular of a car as the Mercedes. Like you said, holding their own. They're known for being a little bit more finicky, whereas the Mercedes kind of compliant and, as you said, fast in a straight line. But we should note that they have not chosen these cars just because of Daytona and the top speed that the Mercs can get. They are not allowed to switch cars willy-nilly. They have to be set for a season, and there is a penalty if they switch on part of the season. I'll have to double-check on the rules exactly what it is. I believe it's the same as before.
I think it's 10 points if I remember right.
I'll tell you what, right behind them between Corbin and Santana, as you see Corbin gets laid onto the brake. That battle for P3.
No, sorry, on screen we just saw contact. We weren't watching that. We were watching Daniel Benefield get a shot to the back from Kevin O'Keefe through turn 1.
Not Kevin's fault. It was Benefield did a big checkup so he didn't get into the trunk of Matt Owens. And Rutgers Kev, you had nowhere to go on this one unless you had like reflexes like Billy the Kid.
Now, we've seen a bit of action here with Benefield, and like you said, I don't think this one was his fault, but he does have to worry. We have an incident limit in this series. He could get disqualified if he keeps racking them up.
He's gonna need some band-aids on his elbows here and his nose on that one. Yeah, he's been... It was Andra and now the one with O'Keefe, and I believe there was one more that he was involved in. So, yeah, they're coming.
Well, without the nose on the front of O'Keefe, Benefield's going to make easy pickings of him through the oval portion of the track. Oh, and it looks like on the director's screen, the nose is still there. On mine, I'm missing it.
Yeah, I'm losing mine. I'm missing it, too. I think it's gone. Now, here's the deal, Kevin. This was barely going to be a two-stop race anyway. Why don't you just come in, get the nose, you won't have to worry about saving fuel. Come on in and you can race full speed the whole way.
I don't think he's taking your advice. He's staying out.
I wonder if he knows he doesn't have a nose. Does he know there's a nose?
Oh, I just came back on mine.
Okay.
Meanwhile, let's go down to the GTDs, still fighting hard, and now they've got traffic.
Oh, they're in a mix of traffic of GTLMs and prototype class. It looks like to be Carter Cundy are going underneath the inside of the likes of Scott Corbin right now. So Kevin Santana has a little bit of breathing room right now, but behind them is still going to be Tim McLeish having to hold off the likes of Shane Hunter and Trevor Vavroski right now. Those three have been battling out, have not separated one bit from the start of the green flag of this race, though, and they're closing in on the back bumper of Scott Corbin. So these five drivers have been battling and putting on a great show as more prototype traffic comes through with Daniel Benefield.
Onto the oval portion, Santana going to have to give the inside to Homan, the GTLM car at the tail of that class. So he won't be split by a car between himself and Corbin, who he's been fighting for the lead with, but you can see the frustration that he must be feeling because he starts to go right back by Homan and has him by the time they hit the inner loop, the bus stop.
Yeah, it is quite amazing to see how these GTD cars, though in certain parts of the track, can have a little bit better speed through the corners compared to these GTLM cars. Now, the GTLM cars will try to definitely pull away on the straightaway, but for the most part, these cars are quite really more equal compared to each other. The only thing different with GTLMs is that they have a little bit more aero package compared to the likes of a GTD.
Bill, you noticed something about the number 70? What's going on over there?
It's just a fierce battle here. This is Paul Lindsay. This is for 5th in class. But he's got behind him, he's got that Ford of Brian Huff back there. Stephen McGarvey is back there looking on.
Horseshoe. We have several drivers in the GTD going off course. That's Scott
Corbin. Oh, my.
And I think another GTD driver as well. I could not get the likes of who it was. I think it might have been McLeish or Hunter. I was not sure.
Let's take a look.
Oh, the break. Joshua Holman missed the car number 10, almost like he missed his braking point. Just comes the nose of Corbin.
I think the LMP2 car or a prototype car also got in the back of Holman as well.
Yeah, he did.
I wasn't sure which prototype it was.
That was Leif Peterson, and poor Peterson then unfortunately had Gerard off the track coming off. His mind was obviously elsewhere at that moment, didn't realize he had a car to his outside. Both managed to survive.
We're looking at Mike Young there in 3rd.
As we come back live, this is still a fierce battle. This is for the 2nd place in the GTLM. Young taking a little bit of a peek coming out of the International Horseshoe, but Turcotte not letting him through. They're starting to drop William Laster a little bit.
This has been the same order these guys have been racing in the whole time. And Mike Young is doing enough to pester Turcotte, but not forcing the issue. Now they got Garcia coming through. He's going to be a little bit faster in the prototype here. Going to catch him in a good part of the track. Rossi, remember, well off the pace of his class.
They come down the back stretch. Another look to the inside. Mike Young doesn't seem to be interested in waiting behind anymore. Out breaks Turcotte easily into the corner. In fact, Turcotte very slow into there, almost loses out to Laster. And as they come off of the bus stop, Mike Young now finds himself P2 in the GTLMs with a nice gap to the car behind.
Yeah, I think that Ferrari of Laster is going to gobble up Turcotte's Porsche as well. He would like to say, I think Laster thinks he has the speed to stay with Young, and he can't afford to be back there now and wait.
Tim McLeish has a heck of a save in the GTD. He was up in 3rd position, but lost it in the transition going up into NASCAR 1. He's going to drop back now to at least 5th position, right behind Mike Majors as they go down the super stretch.
We can stay on that. I'll just report verbally that remember Ulmer and Smith were swapping positions. Well, Ulmer's had enough of that. He's left Smith behind now. He's got him by about 3.5 seconds. Ulmer.
Hey, I'm a little surprised because Billy Smith showed great improvement last season, had a fair bit of pace in this very car. Clearly still not able to match the likes of the Big Cheese. Now, I'm curious also if Daniel Benefield will be able to get back into things despite multiple contacts. He's only about 5 seconds behind Billy Smith.
Yeah, and how about a tip of the hat to Rutgers Kevin O'Keefe after I recommended he come in for a pit stop. He was able to stay out there. Of course, his nose got matched and put back on the front of the car. I didn't know that was going to happen. But right now, he's only about 1.5 seconds behind Benefield, trying to get back onto a podium spot.
Now, the driver in this class I don't think you should count out is the 02 of Jason Gerard. He's got himself back up to 7th, and he's already looking at Cy Andra. We know Cy is no slouch himself, but Andra's also recovering from his first lap incident. So both these drivers effectively slicing through the order, trying to get back up to the podium, and they're not too far off of it.
It's really fun to see Andra and Gerard in the same race class this time. They were separated last time, and it's like two great fighters finally get to meet up. driver in front of these guys, one of the Grizzly boys, Travis Henderson, in 5th, all by himself.
And
Travis likes to be.
I was going to say, how about this run from Travis? He qualified 13th. He's in the top 5. It may be a little bit by attrition of others making mistakes, but, I mean, credit where credit is due.
Hey, that's one of the most important things when it comes to racing in any form, is just trying to keep your nose clean as best you can, and you will come out with a good result. So very good job for those drivers.
Getting relatively close to the first set of pit stops. Another 9 minutes. We should see some cars start to come in, especially these prototypes.
Yeah.
Will be very, very tight on that window.
That's the one you want to watch up. Watch that little number up there. Right now you're looking at 1 hour and 9 minutes to go. If they can get to the 1 hour mark, they can 2-stop this thing. Of course,
Well,
you cut it so close though. When you get that way, you don't want to. You hope there's no extra laps on that last stint.
Yeah, really. In typical Autobahn fashion, the new season starts somewhat chaotic, but we've seen worse, I will admit. And that's not to play things down here. It's just that it's the nature of this 3-class field and these different cars all trying to circulate this track with so many of them out there. And these drivers have handled it very, very well. Kevin
Taylor
O'Keefe on board with a possible pass here.
Look at that.
That's Henderson.
Yeah.
Henderson just outbroke himself. I almost thought that he was going to have it, but he was way too wide into the corner.
Yeah, no, this is Henderson closing though on O'Keefe. That's his position. O'Keefe was in 4th behind Benefield, so Henderson's coming. As far as track selection going, Taylor, you got to think that Daytona is probably a pretty good place to get your feet wet with multi-class racing. As far as getting out of the way, this one's pretty straightforward.
Yes, indeed it is. It's a very difficult or easy track to maneuver to get out of the way of drivers, especially in those slower classes. So drivers can be able to maneuver their car in the right place, especially when they get on the oval circuit. A lot of these drivers are patient enough to where they can wait to get on the oval section and make those passes. But of course, we've seen some incidents going into the infield where we've seen drivers make contact, which has cost some drivers some very big points and positions.
Watching the battle for second in the GTDs. This is Vavrovsky and Hunter duking it out. They're going to come onto the oval portion that Taylor was just talking about here in a moment as they come up to turn 6. And Hunter not close enough for pass into this corner. If he can get a launch off there, though, Taylor, he could have an opportunity. Let's see what he's got.
Oh, he's definitely going to try to get in that slipstream right there, but he had to be so careful not to lose control of the car. We saw Tim McLeish earlier lose control coming out of that section right there, but it looks like Vavrovsky is going to have enough of a gap maybe before they get to the braking zone of the bus stop chicane. But Shane Hunter and his Mercedes is doing a great job of staying up on the right back bumper of that other Mercedes. So as it down at the bus stop they go, Hunter gets a little bit better entry right now. Let's see if he can stick with it and get a better exit. I think he might have clipped the curb coming off, so he's going to have to maybe watch out, be careful not to get a time penalty where he has to slow down a little bit.
Give a shout out there. Trevor Borowski is part of Grizzly. Now we go ahead and we're going to look at Henderson. There's another Grizzly guy. You know, I got to give a tip of the hat to the Grizzly guys. Teammates and loyalty can be a bit mercurial in sim racing. You can change teams that are drop of the hat. Not for the guys from Grizzly Motorsports. They stay together. They race as a pack.
This group stays together. Henderson, who's fallen off of Kevin O'Keefe since his last attempt, now has Cy Andra and Jason Gerard hot on his heels. We ride on board with Travis, watching those two very fast drivers and champions in this series work their way forward. Well, I shouldn't say champion for Cy Andra, excuse me. I'm sure he's not going to be happy about me making that mistake. Working through the bus stop. Gerard looking very, very strong, getting all over the gearbox of Cy.
Had a big off for the likes of Robert Jackson. He had lost control going into turn 1, went into the tire barriers, and it was unfortunately had to tow it. So he is going to be probably out of the race.
Look to the inside. Yeah. Henderson's not interested in fighting these two too hard.
Henderson has a reputation of being a tough pass, but right there, You got to figure that that rookie did a little bit of homework, and the names of Andra and Gerard registered with him. And all right, go on, boys.
Little less a tough pass and a little more hairy in the Hendersons there. Just gently letting them through.
Trouble for Trevor Varvosky, though. He lost it coming out of the International Horseshoe. Made contact with the barrier. And he's got a little bit of nose damage. That nose is crinkled up on his car right now.
Let's take a look at the replay. Maybe have to back up a little bit more. He's already got the damage on the front.
Again, Vroom Borowski, another one of those grizzly guys. We're looking at Mike Young there.
What corner was it in?
That was in the International Horseshoe, not the Western. So the first horseshoe.
See him continue on, P6.
Under pressure from Scott Corbin, who early got involved. His car looks a little bit much cleaner compared to the likes of Vavrosky, so he was going to try to put the pressure on him now, get back into the top 6. Corbin is on a mission to try to get back at least into the top 5.
Looking back at Scott Corbin. Two drivers who at one point were each fighting for P2, but not anymore as they slip to the mid-pack in the GTDs. Haven't looked at the GTLMs in a bit. In fact, let's give some love to the leader there because this has been a phenomenal race to the number 250. Alex Simonik. He missed out on the championship. Wonder if we're going to see him be able to rebound off that. He certainly looks like he's trying to do so, Bill, because he's got nearly a 9-second lead, and we're not even a third into the race.
Yeah, he is feeling really good. But when you look through all the guys he's used to racing, you're not seeing any of the names that he's used to dealing with. I'm surprised that DeVries is putting up more of a battle. I guess he's just getting a feel for the new car. I don't know if we reported this or not, but Billy Smith is now down to third. I've been multitasking, so we might have missed that Benefield now up into second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know when the pass was, but Benefield... Oh, looks like we got a replay. Let's see where this happened exactly. The number 34 continuing to recover. Looks like he's on the oval. This is Liam Quinn that we're looking at. We're looking for Daniel... There we go. The TNT Puffing Racing driver. Through the Western Horseshoe. Oh, and that was a mistake. Smith was off course. He comes back on. That explains it. I was going to say this is phenomenal pace from Benefield, but no, it's just an unusual error from the 901.
Which makes the 12-second lead of John Ulmer over those guys make more sense.
Makes sense, yeah. Well, this is good news for Syandra and Jason Gerard because that makes it easier for them to at least get to P2. P1 might be another story, but they are only about a second and a half from Kevin O'Keefe, who himself is 4 seconds behind that battle for second.
All right, talk about a battle for second. Let's go, actually, it's a battle for third, I guess. Let's go to car number 52, 20th overall. It's Oliver Cicciotti. Now, he is, remember, he was in that battle. He was leading Mike Young. Young got around him and left him behind. William Lester has been trying to get around him for, oh, Lord knows how long since that happened. Not been able to do it, and Young has driven away, and Lester is back there watching as we get really close, Joe, to the 1/3 mark here.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing some pit stops in a moment. Cicciotti still holding Lester at bay. Really this time because that Ferrari's got a nice little slipstream. Looking to the inside of the green and white car. Down into the braking for the bus stop. The Porsche's not giving up the ghost. They're going to go side by side. They make contact, and Laster has to take to off course, recover, and lose all that time. Hope he didn't get any suspension damage. That was awful close to the corner of the car. They have no spare car in this series for the second season, Bill. That's bad news if he's got to bring it in. Good news is he stayed out. Watch from the onboard. This is a beautiful angle right here to show us contact. I thought Laster would have this one. And Turcotte just was not willing to give up the ghost.
Another good thing about this is he is in his window now if he wants to come in and get those, if there are repairs that need to be made, so he can get it done without costing him an extra stop.
If we got damage on the car, it's going to slow him down in a straight line. We have had our first scheduled stop in the the prototypes. I'm still doing it. The number 39, Elif Peterson, has come in and out. And now we've got our leaders coming in. John Ulmer, the big cheese, the first to enter.
Surprisingly, Benefield and Smith stay out. They're going to go around one more time if I'm seeing this correct. So we have a new leader. Let's go to Benefield right now. He's coming up on the back of some traffic. That's Trevor Borowski's got to get around, and he's got Billy Smith right behind him. There goes Smith, too.
Borowski had to take off track to let them both through. Got a little bit scared, and both of them managed to get by, but now they're trying to dispose of Scott Corbin. Catches him just off the Western Horseshoe, sneaks through by the time they hit the kink. Corbin, oh no, Corbin off track and into the wall! Corbin hard into the Armco, that engine smoking. I think his day is firmly done.
Racing 6th in class, car number 54, currently 23rd now overall. Holy.
Yeah, because he took the tow, it's sending him back up. Let's take a look at the replay. We didn't get to quite catch it. He was doing the right thing. He was trying to let them through, stay off to the left, but he took this kink so shallow, Taylor, that it sent him into the grass.
It did. It was not a good line. He had to stay low. Of course, he had no choice. The LMP or the prototype traffic coming through, and unfortunate for Corbin, it put him in the wall, and that is probably going to end his day right there. He's still out on track. Finally now pulls it out.
Disappointment. And I think Billy Smith coming in for the pits. Yep. They actually went around both sides of I think it was a GTLM car.
Okay, that's Benefield out in front. He's your leader. That's Smith behind. Now they're going to sacrifice this spot to Ulmer, who's going to come around and jump them easily.
Look at, do you see in the background? It is a pit party for the prototypes. We found the limit of how far they can go on fuel.
O'Keefe, Andra, Gerard, they're all in.
Literally everyone except for those who've already pitted. Dale Green's going to be the last one. And indeed, he's also coming in.
Benefield rolls out first. And that's Smith right behind him, I believe. Yep.
And Ulmer does naturally jump them since he was about 12 seconds ahead, and he's going to return to about that now that they come back out. Let's go to third in the GTD class. We got a little bit of a battle for the podium.
Mike Majors doing a great job after keeping his nose cleans up in third position. Alan Hesbeck right behind him as well. Hesbeck trying to close that gap. Was closing in when they were in the infield, but once they got onto turn 6, had to back off just a little bit, but goes late into the brake zone and to the bus stop chicane. Let's see if he gets a great exit off. No, it's going to be just about the same gap as they were, but Majors doing a great job for his debut here at tonight's race, holding on in the third position in class.
They've got about 3 seconds up to Shane Hunter, who's in P2, so they're really not within threatening distance. But if there's a mistake from Hunter, or maybe a bit of bad traffic, they could yet try to run down the number 927. Oh man, Henderson can't get away from any sort of trouble. Here comes Carter Kundinger around the outside of the super stretch, and he is clearly through.
After that charge through the field by Travis Henderson, he started to go the other direction. That moves Carter Kundinger up into 6th position. I want to take you up, though, to Cy Andra, up in 5th right now. All you little soldiers in Soup's Clipboard Army, mark down this number. He is only about, oh my goodness. In fact, I wanted to give you that gap to O'Keefe. Oh, Kevin O'Keefe has had an issue. Kevin, just from when I was talking, Kevin was in third. Something has happened to Kevin O'Keefe.
You know, let's see, what does this pit stop look like? He was in there. Oh, is this about 15 seconds longer? Either he repaired the damage bill or he got a speeding penalty.
I think that's, you know, he did have maybe some damage, but I was going to talk about Andra making a run on O'Keefe, but now he doesn't have to worry about that. Andra up to fourth. So let me give you this interval from Jason Girard, who is in fourth. Well, here's the big names. Jason Girard in fourth, 2 seconds up on Andra.
But they're now chasing down Billy Smith because of O'Keefe having to either get those repairs or serve that penalty. We'll find out which later. Smith is probably more concerned about those ahead of him. That's Daniel Benefield. They went into the pits right together. They came out of the pits right together. Billy would probably like that P2 back.
And now that I don't think fuel is really an issue for them now, they should be able to race without much worry about it, I would think.
Yeah, they made it about 3 minutes past that 1/3 mark, so I think they're pretty comfortable.
There's a fun little battle here. This is Paul Lindsay. Now that's Mark Wilson going through, being chased by, well, Swaby is back there, one spot back, and ahead is Ryan Huff.
Linden, like I mentioned, representing the Kinetic team. Seeing if maybe he could get 2 more and bump up to P7. Still waiting on most of these GTLMs to pit, including everyone but our leader. Because Simonic just pitted. Turcotti's going to join him from second. McGarvey in as well.
So
In fact,
young
a lot of them in.
Yeah. Young and Laster stay out.
Simonic going once again. Boy, Bill, you talk about cars that you won't be able to miss. I think Alex is one of those.
It's a good-looking car.
Whoever painted that seems to have had a lot of patience. So, drivers that did not come in, Young, Laster, DeVries, Gralty, and Lindsay. Other than that, all of the GTLMs have either pitted or are still finishing their pit stop. Tell you what, you start to appreciate the speed in which these cars are able to complete these. Because, Bill, I've been doing a little bit of testing for a side project, and I found out to get a full tank of fuel in the street stock takes over 2 minutes. So 30 seconds doesn't seem so bad anymore.
I think that's probably a combination of the size of the tank and the quality of the guys putting in the fuel.
Tim McLeishan coming in from the GTD cars.
Yep, he's one of our first ones to come down pit road, along with Marty Jeffries. Trevor Vavrovsky is coming out right now, and Matt Owens also is making his pit stop as well. So a lot of those who are towards the back of the field, as well as some of those who are up in the podium positions, coming down to complete their first stop of the race. Still waiting on the likes of Kevin Santana. He decided to stay out for at least another lap by the looks of it, so he'll probably be coming in within the next lap or so.
When iRacing does virtual pit crews for like the street stocks, they should give them like beer bellies, you know?
You know, I suggested that very thing, honestly. cut off shirts and jorts on them. But I think Santana, well, I would have hoped that he'd be coming in. Otherwise, he's getting awful close to the halfway mark. Let's see what he holds this time. And indeed, there goes that Mercedes.
Late in the braking zone, and he spins the car almost out. And I think he might have a time penalty with speeding. He was really close on that time of getting under speed right there. So I think he might be penalized. And Shane Hunter is also coming down along with the rest of the GT Daytona class. Was it 60 miles an hour here, or what was the speed limit? He was right at 60 when he hit that cone. So I think he barely snuck in.
He sure pushed the envelope, though.
Oh, he definitely pushed the envelope on there. I mean, they almost lost control of that GTD Mercedes-Benz. I mean, that was just an incredible save. I'm surprised he didn't hit the pit wall coming off, but he's taking tires by the looks of it as well. As Shane Hunter just completed his pit stop going back out on track, Mike Major still in his pit box along with Alan Hayspec. Those two are also waiting to complete their stop. Let's see if they beat off the likes of Hunter. Looks like Major will, Hayspec will not, so we'll have to keep an eye and see how that will turn out in the GT Daytona class when the pit stop cycles are complete.
Hayspec out for the SRN Motorsports Orange Machine, or is that Pumpkin, Bill?
Yeah, we talked about that in the forum. It's pumpkin and licorice. Otherwise, their team name is just 3 letters and a color. I'm not going with it.
Now, Taylor, you mentioned taking tires, something we haven't talked about, because I believe the GT3 cars can't take tires and fuel at the same time. Is that correct, or are they able to do that right now? Yeah,
no,
it looks like, yeah.
It's a separate deal for both drivers.
Exactly.
If you take both of them, it will do separate stops, basically, in a sense. So it looks like Santana.
Oh, is this a battle for position? This is between O'Keefe and Sockrider. Sockrider working around the outside, down the back stretch, but he's going to back out of it by the time they hit the bus stop. Now, back to the point about the tires. The reason I bring that up, with these 90-minute races, even though Daytona isn't known for being tough on tires for these cars, Taylor, we've seen in the past that when you take the tires can sometimes make a difference in our winner.
It can be, even though it might take you a little bit longer to get that pit stop complete. Fresh tires will help the car out with grip as well as more speed in the car. So we could be seeing a good strategy call by Kevin Santana. It might not have been on the major plan that he had, but due to the fact that he almost lost control of the car and had to basically slide the tires into the pit zone, he had to get new tires. Otherwise, it would have been too good for him.
Look at this battle on screen we've got between Wolf and McGarvey. New blood versus old blood. Onto the banking. They're going to let that HPD by.
Well down the list in the order to look at the race there for 10th and 11th.
Yeah, very unusual. But it could be some of that, again, strategy playing itself out. Maybe we'll see these drivers take tires in the next stop. Meanwhile, Major, who inherited the lead, unfortunately might not have it for super long. Look at this, Taylor. Shane Hunter living up to his name.
Yes, he is hunting down the likes of Mike Major as they come out of turn 6 onto NASCAR turn 1 and 2. Shane trying to utilize the slipstream to close in that gap between, having a little bit of issues though with blinking right now. So I've been seeing him blinking in and out. I need to check his computer. Hopefully everything's going to be okay to where he can complete the race. But that is just one of the issues that you have to deal with when racing on iRacing. Not maybe engine malfunctions, but computer malfunctions can cost you big time. Look at that right there. Shane Hunter gets late in the brakes to the bus stop chicane, tries to close in the gap. Let's see if he gets a good exit. I think he's going to be able to get enough of the slipstream to close that gap on the likes of Mike Major.
Certainly right underneath him. We're getting close to the halfway point in this race. He's got to run. Shane Hunter, is he going to take it or is he going to wait behind? He's going to make a move, but he blinks yet again. This is going to be difficult in a turn 1 if things get tight. Mike Major's got the preferred inside line. Can he get the car woed up? He's a little timid on the brakes, or is Shane Hunter too brave on the brakes? It is not the case. Shane Hunter is your new leader. Mike Majors falls down to second place. And that's going to take us to our rundown with all the pit stops done. Let's start with the top 5 in our prototypes. John Ulmer currently leading the way, inherited the lead sort of, but has been really making good on the fresh air that he's got ahead of him. Has run the gap up to 17 seconds now to second place, which is Daniel Benefield on his return from front row of the grid to still second place, but only barely, because this is a battle for position right here. Are they going to split this GTLM car? Not quite. Benefield's going to get the inside. Oliver Turcotte tries to stay out of the way. Third place is Billy Smith in the red and white HPD that you see fighting with him. fiercely wanting to get back higher onto the podium, even though he's well down from a potential win. Behind them, not too far back, Jason Girard continues to creep forward to see what he can do after his early problems. He's being followed by another driver on a recovery drive. Cy Andra, very first corner, gets a bump from Benefield, spins around, has to go to the back of the pack. He's recovered up to a top 5. Let's go to Bill with the GTLMs.
Yo, you keep an eye on that Benefield-Smith battle. Give me a yell if they start to make a move. I got a feeling Smith is in a hurry. Alex Simonic having it his own way, up 14 seconds on the guy behind him, which is Mike Young. Once Mike Young was able to get around Oliver Ducati, it was easy racing for him. Ducati does not have it easy, though. He is in third. He is being chased by William Laster. Laster has been on his tail the entire run. And then there is Jason DeBreeze back there, 7 seconds, or 4 seconds back of Laster. Really doesn't seem to have the pace in his Ford today. Taylor?
Shane Hunter still holding on to that lead right now in the GTDs in his Mercedes, but Mike Major, though, all over the back bumper of Shane Hunter. He is going to give chase to the likes of that Mercedes in front of him. Back in the third position is going to be Alan Haysbeck. He is doing a great job after starting way back in the field, 45th overall, but he had to deal with the likes of Tim McLeish, who is also trying to close in, sitting in the 4th position. These two are now going through the Western Horseshoe and just been battling all night long for the most part of the race, while rounding out your top 5 is going to be the likes of Kevin Santana. After that incident on pit road where he changed tires as well, after nearly spinning out the car in pit road, he has to deal with the likes of Varvoski, who is trying to get into the top 5, but still holding strong, Kevin Santana.
I can say that we haven't had another pass attempt by Billy Smith. He's still right on top of Daniel Benefield. I wonder if maybe that traffic is what caused him to have it go into turn 1 previously and attempt to pass him. Maybe thought he could get him distracted, because this time he had the run but backed out of it. He's still staying right with him, only half a second splitting the number 34 and the 901.
Here's what I think is up here. This could get me in a little bit of trouble, and Daniel Benefield, I love you, but you do come with a little bit of a reputation for being a confident driver. Let me put it that way. And I'm thinking maybe Billy Smith is thinking, I'm not fast enough to get away from you. Maybe I'll just keep you where I can keep an eye on you here. It's easier to look at you through my windshield than it is through my rearview mirror. Robert Slenka has a spin.
Ooh. Well, Sklenka was one of the drivers that tended to run well last year, or last season, rather.
He gets it back. It's not worth going to. He's well down the list. Saw him put it in the grass. Could give him a little love, though, racing in the number 27.
Looking back at Cy Andro. Well, Girard was in front of him a moment ago, but I think that was just a simple slipstream pass.
Yeah, now these are two drivers that have complete confidence in the other, even though they haven't raced together a lot because they were separated by a class. I think they both know, feel confident on racing.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, though, what about Billy Smith, though? I mean, this is Cy Andra. Now, maybe his car is not feeling well, but he's still 6.5 seconds behind Billy Smith.
Well, I would think that by now Andra would have gotten some of the damage repaired in the last pit stop, if he did have any. Of course, that doesn't grant him the full bit of speed, because they were, I want to say, only about 4 seconds behind Billy Smith before. Yeah,
and I really got to keep, I'm so ignorant, I keep forgetting that this is a new car for Andra because he raced in the LMP1s last time, which he was really, one more really in me here, really good at.
Well, new car, at least for this series, for him to be driving. He could have, not sure if he's raced this car elsewhere before. Judging by his pace, I say he might have.
I think he probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Short of the Solstice, I think he's probably been in everything.
I don't know. I'm willing to bet he's raced the Solstice. Let's go to Taylor for the battle for first over in GTD.
Yeah, Mike Major is having a very difficult time trying to get by Shane Hunter. He tried to get into the slipstream of one of the prototypes that went by down the front straightaway, but just due to the fact of Shane Hunter's connection issues, he is just having a little bit of difficulty trying to find that opportunity to pass. At think he might be even a little bit nervous to try to make those passes, because you do not know when those cars blink in front of you where they will end up when they blink back in front of you. They could be on your inside, outside, behind you, in front of you. So I think Mike is just trying to take his time, maybe wait till he gets onto the banking and make a pass, but he has been putting the pressure on Shane Hunter, maybe trying to make Shane make a mistake in order for him to get by as quickly as possible.
I'm trying to make out what's going on with the hood of his car. I see a lollipop in there. And is that ice cream? Making me hungry.
Hey, it finally happened. The 49 of William Laster finally was able to get around Oliver Cicciotti.
Olivier, I've been told, is how his...
Olivier!
Olivier, yes.
That is so good.
We haven't been corrected on his last name, so we'll find out if we're doing right on that one. Let's take a look at the replay, though.
I would not let my sister date anybody named Olivier Cicciotti. That's what I'm telling you right now. That sounds like trouble.
Sounds like a real smooth talker.
Yeah, it does indeed.
This is down into the International Horseshoe. Is there a little bit of traffic involved in that? Sometimes you got to take those opportunities. Oh, we got a car off Gerard Gilbert. This is down in 11th in the GTDs, 46th overall. How did he wind up there? Looks like he had a self-spin on his way into the bus stop. And unfortunately, the New Jersey driver found the tire barrier. So he's got a fair bit of damage on the right side of his car.
Right in front of Liam Quinn, who had a good view of that one. Haven't talked much about Liam. Thought he'd be a little better at this one. He's going down about 8th in order.
Watching the replay on this incident, there was nobody around, no pressure. Just coming in a little hot. We talked about the Audi being kind of touchy in some corners. A little too touchy for the likes of Gilbert. Tires are unfortunately eating Gilbert not quite a grape.
Oh, jeez. You were really pushing it there.
That was a stretch.
That was a stretch, yeah.
I got into it and I realized that the grape part just isn't going to work. So, anyways,
the season is early.
Now back to that battle for the lead in the GTD class. Major not giving up on Hunter. This is Joey Trungale. Now, I know the cars look similar, but that is a GTLM, that Porsche. So that's not for the same class. His fight is not with Major.
No, he was just trying to keep out of that battle as best he can, though, as we in the GTD battling. But I tell you what, Joey Trungale's got a nice front row seat for this battle. As you see, Majors tries to take a peek into the inside of turn 1, but cannot find a place as Shane Hunter disappears in front of him. He's going to have to wait and see what he can do going into the International Horseshoe. Late in the braking, we see Majors go. I mean, doing a great job. I mean, credits to Mike Major for keeping this car clean, not running into the back bumper of Shane Hunter at all. So I have to give a great round of applause for Major on that.
Watch from Trungale's view, just looking at this battle ahead. Now, you spotted that it was a dolphin with ice cream and a lollipop and a narwhal on the hood of that car?
That's what I saw, and I'm like scratching my head on what in the world was this all about. So if he comes in for an interview, we definitely have to ask him about that.
I think one of the teams has narwhal in the name. I'd have to go check on that. So that might explain. It said he was independent. Maybe he is on one of those teams and just we don't have our info updated. Meanwhile, jumping back to McGarvey.
Look at this battle between McGarvey and Daniel Gralti. This is a battle for 8th in class. You would expect these guys, that's a former champion, and Gralti races always for a podium. You expect these guys to be way higher.
I think the talent has once again, which is hard to believe, jumped upwards in this series.
That's Matt Owens doing a good job of keeping a tight inside line and letting Gralti get around the wide side.
Going to be able to continue their battle, but that lap traffic did split them up somewhat. We're going to have Leif Peterson coming through in the prototype. He's trying to get off of the apron of the banking. They're not allowed to race on that, at least to gain an advantage. The car is damaged, of course. They want them down there and out of the way.
After watching IndyCar this weekend, I think we're race anywhere. They put Indy at Dakota. They just took the rules away. Those guys were racing in the stands.
Don't get me started. Oh, is Billy Smith almost gets into the back of Cy Andra. Andra must have made that pass recently. In fact, he did, and there was contact. If we could get a replay back in the International Horseshoe, that's when Cy Andra got by, gave a hip check to Billy Smith. Take a look at this. It's a good thing that Billy didn't actually run into him in the Western Horseshoe. That would not have looked good. I know it was not intentional, but getting bumped out of the way and then running into the back and turning your opponent around never looks very nice, unfortunately, whether you mean it or not. And already Gerard is behind Billy Smith. These were the two that were fighting for that LMP2 championship much of the time. It's not quite fast enough to attempt to pass into turn one. They haven't dropped off of Cy Andra by a whole lot. I'm sure Gerard would rather get this done sooner than later, though.
And if you think this thing is over with John Ulmer up by 20 seconds, you have not watched many Autobahn races.
You had to bring it up. You had to bring it up.
There's one guy that could find disaster in a box of candy, and it's John Ulmer.
It's leading by 19 and a half seconds ahead of Daniel Benefield. At this point, his biggest fear, probably the traffic. They are coming up on the second pit stop. You can see the sun's starting to go down quite a bit more. It's currently at 7 p.m. rather, virtual standard time here at Daytona.
They actually have it set at the actual date. It is March 25th here.
They made sure to do that this season.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the rules.
I'm telling you, I'm going to back it up a couple years and see if I can watch the eclipse on iRacing.
They don't have a moon yet, though, Bill.
Oh, God, that's...
Your plan's foiled. Gerard still hounding Billy Smith. Let's jump back to there. This is for fourth in prototypes. Credit to Gerard. I feel a little bad for Billy Smith, though. It seems like he maybe could have had a little bit better pace than this. Especially if Gerard and Andra weren't able to make such quick progress through the field. They caught up to the leaders so fast, there was just nothing to stop them.
Gotta think maybe that pit stop might have, if they had a little damage, might have helped them out a bit.
This is true, too. Get those repairs done and the car is good as new, then... Ooh, this is the opportunity Gerard's waiting for. Makes it 3 wide, just sneaks underneath Dave Hill, but still doesn't have the pass done. Billy Smith now under threat because that slipstream is going to get very powerful here in a moment. He's going to force Gerard up around the high side. The New York driver, can he outbrake the likes of Billy Smith? And the answer is yes. Down into the bus stop. Give P4 to Jason Gerard.
God, Billy Smith's got to be saying, new season, same story.
Catch a break. Now Santana's climbing forward. You've noticed this, Taylor. This is a great job using those new tires.
Yeah, he's got a great run right now on the back number of Tim McLeish going into NASCAR's turn 1 and 2 down the super stretch they're going to go. Santana's going to take a peek to the inside, utilize the slipstream to get a good run down the super stretch. He looks to the inside of Tim McLeish going into the bus stop chicane. He's going to break way later. McLeish might have just let him go and move up Santana into the third position. Has his eyes set on Mike Major and Shane Hunter. So we still have about 30 minutes left on the clock. I'm pretty sure he's going to be hunting those two drivers down very quickly.
Actually, can we go back to Gerard? Because not only did he get by Billy Smith finally, he's actually run down Cy Andra very, very quickly. Less than a second between the two of them. And this is now a battle for the podium because of these passes they've made.
We're going to look at the overtake.
Wait, there was a...
Yeah.
Are we talking about Gerard getting by Smith? Or?
Yeah, maybe that's...
Well, we saw that one already.
Yeah, we saw them. Now, what is interesting is Cy Andra is about 7 seconds back of Benefield and making up some pretty good time.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's
I
seconds.
really think with 30 minutes to go, I know this seems like great, but he is just chonking off time left and right. I think he's got a real shot at getting to Benefield.
That's only if Gerard doesn't fight him.
Oh, here we go.
That's happening right now. So this is Daniel Benefield. If he's aware of what's going on behind him, he is cheering these twos on. But
yeah.
Gerard,
he's listening. He's listening to the broadcast. If they just stay behind Andra, Andra's going to get him up to Benefield. And once the cheese falls off the Ulmer pizza, Andra gets this win.
Had some blinking in this group, unfortunately. Both Cy and Gerard have been in and out a little bit. Not entirely sure if that's due to the number of cars that we've got out there today, or if it's people's actual connections. Because I know when there gets to be too many cars, there can be times where iRacing get a little screwy, but thankfully it's behaved pretty well for us today.
Mike Major got the lead away from Shane Hunter a couple of laps ago going into the Western Horseshoe. I saw Shane Hunter go a little bit too wide in there, causing Major to get on the inside and make the pass. So Major is pulling away just a little bit right now, but Shane Hunter going to try the best he can to keep that gap the same as it was when Major was behind him. But Santana, though, is closing the gap as well. So we could have a three-car battle here pretty soon for the GTD class.
The way that Mike held with Shane Hunter, even after he got initially passed, I feel like Shane's going to have to wait for a major mistake from Mike to be able to get that back once again.
Oh, jeez, stop it.
And we've got some pit stops. Lyndon Swaby is in.
Now, this is interesting. This is probably a good thing for him because he was losing ground. He was in a battle trying to stay ahead of McGarvey and Gralty, and they were coming quick. So Lyndon's going to come in, get that pit stop made. We'll see how this plays out, though. We'll watch McGarvey and Gralty, when they make their stop, how they fare in relationship to that.
Now, did Lyndon take tires in his first stop? Because I'm seeing this one as a quick one. Maybe he thinks he can go on no tire changes if he didn't take one last time.
Boy, it would be hard for me with... I'm thinking if I'm changing tires, I'm doing it the first stop. I don't know. It seems like with only 27 minutes to go, I'd be tempted just to roll it out and see how far I can get.
Quinn comes into pit from the prototype class.
Boy, you watch this guy, put him in a Dallara. He's something else. Getting used to the Honda right now.
Also, Leif Peterson. He comes in, takes a pit stop. This is scheduled for these drivers. This is not too early. They should easily make it to the end of the race.
Pizza time! John Ulmer's come in.
I'm surprised that we're seeing drivers this early. They made it 3 minutes past the half-hour mark last time. I would think that would bump it up to 6 minutes past.
Yeah, Ulmer was first last time around, though, so I think you can see Benefield and Andra and Gerard. They're going to go a little while longer.
Not Gerard. Gerard's in.
Oh.
The 0-2 is pitting.
Now this almost forces Smith to come in, or Andra to come in next time, I would think.
Ulmer's done with his stop, returns to the track.
Oh, Gerard missed his box by a little bit. He had to scoot himself forward.
Ooh. And that is going to be critical with how closely they were fighting.
Yep.
For that third place.
The competition is too stiff to make a little mistake like this when he finds his box. It's only a matter of a few seconds, but it'll cost him.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking himself for sure. Let's watch from on board. Trying to spot it. Comes to a halt. Oh, oops.
I'm in. Nope, I'm not far enough. There, I got to go.
Well, he's finished his pit stop. He returns in ninth. Interestingly, behind Kevin O'Keefe, although O'Keefe has not made his second stop now that I look at my timing and scoring. Feel like this is a bit of a missed opportunity for Rutgers, Kev.
He was there for a while.
Yeah.
He was up on the podium for a while.
I think it's going to be a bit of a why me race, unfortunately. I've got Wilson taking his stop. He's actually just finished that one. He's going to return P14 in the number 323 car. And Benefield pits. Our new leader is in. He'll hand it back over to Ulmer because both Andra and Smith follow him.
Getting a little chilly here. Going to put a sweater on. Sun beginning to set.
Yeah, 71-degree track temperature, 69 degrees out. You Californians and your weather, though. 69's perfect. Homer retains the lead after the pit stops. Now, where is... We were looking for Gerard, I believe. He's coming across the line right now.
Anders rolling.
So, and Benefield is as well. Billy Smith, both of them out ahead of Gerard.
Just that tiny little blurb cost him a couple spots there. Fortunately, he has some good pace. I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, although he had a chance to be ahead of both of these guys.
Yeah, I think the worst damage is just simply that he lost track position because he's still able to attack. I think he'll be able to get up to them. If he was about 5 seconds back, then maybe he could be a little worried.
They come up behind Ross Booth. Booth is going to get out of the way. A little flash of the lights from Andra. I guess that's a thank you flash. I'm going to assume he was good natured. Lap traffic did a pretty good job of getting out of the way. We've seen some incidents, but not a lot of it from people being where they should.
Yeah, well, and nobody really seems to have held anybody up unnecessarily today. So this series has come a long ways in helping teach people how to deal with multi-class traffic. And if anything, a big credit to the Autobahn series and to John Ulmer for helping use this series as a teaching tool for people to try and learn how to deal with multi-class racing. They always look to try and quell arguments by using it as teaching moments, if you will.
Yes, that's how they would couch it. They would put on seminars, though, for when they first started these things.
Oh, but Billy Smith's going to get Andra. Billy Smith, we're not seeing it right now. He's going around the outside. He's going to have to go hard on the brakes the long way around. The car bobbles as he tries to catch it, and Cy Andra is not going to let him through.
Billy Smith can't wait because Gerard's right behind him. There's a nice battle here for third. They race behind Ulmer and Benefield.
You got to think he's be a little careful though, because if they start battling side by side, if I know Gerard, he's going to pounce on the smallest of openings, especially this late.
And you know, with the weather changing, the sun going down, that's going to change who's fast and who's not. So what that's one of the dynamics of the dynamic weather. Boy, that was intelligent soup, but honestly, the drivers who are faster early may not be faster in the dark.
Redundancy, Department of Redundancy.
Yes.
Let's keep half an eye on that battle for the lead of the GTDs. We cannot play this down at all. Major's still leading Hunter, but there is 0.3 between them. Taylor, they've not been spread apart by more than that pretty much this whole time. I feel bad that we haven't got to you more.
Drivers have been nose to tail for quite a long time, even when prototype traffic or GTLM traffic is coming up on them. They still manage to find a way to get right back to the same distance as when they were before. But notice also Kevin Santana is not that far behind. He's been closing that gap. I say it's a matter of time. Either he'll catch them before they make their pit stops, or he will at least be right on the back bumper of Shane Hunter before they complete their final pit stop, which should be in the next few moments.
To get an idea how good Mike Major has been, he qualified 9 spots behind Santana and 7 spots behind Hunter.
Ooh, Shane Hunter in the wall!
Oh, no! late in the race, and he has speared so far into it, I think he might be stuck. He is. He's towed out. Incredible disappointment for the number 927.
The bus stop chicane takes another victim here at Daytona. As we see, Shane Hunter just might have clipped that curbing, went into the grass a little bit too much late in the braking as well, lost control of the car and into the tire barrier. Tire swallowed that nose of that Mercedes hole just about.
So what does this do for our order down in GTD? Well, Santana obviously inherits that second place, but now we've got Alan Hayspec sitting in third.
And Santana's only 5.6 seconds back from Mike Major. So given if the right pit stop strategy or a mistake on pit road, we could see another battle for the lead here in the closing stages.
Andra trying to fend off Billy Smith still, but this time he's got a much better run. He's on the outside. He's got a nose ahead. Is this going to be enough down into the first corner? Let's find out. Once again, Andra proving himself difficult to surpass under braking. In fact, too difficult, because Billy Smith gets denied. Will he take a look into the International Horseshoe? I think he is. He holds that inside line. He's given space at the apex, but can't find the power as smoothly as Cy Andra does.
Look at Gerard looking up the two guys. Tata, we call it the popcorn position. This is why. You can almost feel a Coke in one hand, popcorn in the other hand, driving with his knees right now, watching the show. Knowing
how good Gerard is, I wouldn't put it past him to drive with his knees. They backed onto the banking one more time. Nice little gap from Cy Andra. Got himself a fantastic exit. Look at the gap he's put over Billy Smith just in that one corner. That should deny him any more chances into the bus stop at the least. But last time through, it was out of the bus stop. Seems like Billy Smith just very, very good off that corner.
Again, sun is setting. This is going to play out differently.
Oh, this time he was not good. He was very, very not good. Here comes Jason Gerard. They're going to go three wide with Tyler Guillemette holding down low. They managed to squeak through. Is this going to be enough, though? It almost looked like Gerard stalled out a little bit.
Folks, you want to know how nice Joe Peak is? Very, very not good. See, even when something goes wrong, he still puts it in a positive spin on it.
That wasn't being nice. That was just the English language escaping me for a moment. "18 minutes left on the clock. We're down to the dying stages. We're waiting for the GTLM class. Most of the GTLM top, a few in the mid-pack have. Most of the leaders have not. GTDs have all pretty much not pitted yet.
Yeah, keeping on the watch on Mike Major, seeing when he is going to come down pit road. So far, he is coming into NASCAR 3 and 4. We could be seeing him coming down pit road this time, or he could be staying out another lap. We'll give an update. Let's see what he does. He's coming out of NASCAR turn 4 down the front stretch. Yes, he is. He's going to come down pit road. Let's see if he does something a little bit different. He slows up the car right at 55 mile an hour, has the pit limiter on. He's going to come down pit road. Let's see about Kevin Santana. Still waiting to see. I don't see him just yet.
Well, he stayed out.
He stayed out.
He's gone by.
This is going to be an interesting strategy.
Well, Major, though, did not take tires the first time, if I remember. So this should be a long stop. I think regardless, Santana, unless for some reason he takes tires twice, has got this one in the bag.
Another driver who stayed out was Alan Hayspec as well. He's going to stay out. He's going to move up into the second position. Let's see about Tim McLeish in the 95. Does he stay out? Yes, he does. Ooh. So Mike Major is going to be out of the podium.
Major didn't take tires. Major's going a no-tire race.
16 minutes to go. He's not going to spend time for tires. He's done.
But how is that going to affect his pace, especially compared to Santana, who has been reeling him in bit by bit?
course, they could have evened out since Santana's not going to take them this time.
Yeah, I think the decision was made a little easier with Shane Hunter spinning. I think that
This is true.
that gap, I think he can hold the gap now.
Well, we'll have to see what happens with the rest of the field as Santana's coming out of the bus stop chicane down and up into NASCAR turns 3 and 4. We have to see him come down at least this time by or next time by.
And understand that Alex Simonek, our leader in the GTLMs, takes his final stop. I don't think Santana necessarily has to come down this time. Remember, he went till, I believe it was a little past 50 minutes to go, which is nearly halfway. 903 does not pit this time by.
Neither does Alan Hayspec as well. He stays out. But Tim McLeish does come in. So
Just watch Simonek pitting. Olivier Turcotte comes to his stall.
He's going to come in. Lester now, this is Lester's behind him, and here comes Laster is moving. And look at the distance. Remember, they were in a battle. He's going to pick up a ton of time on Turcotte. In fact, if we can look at Young, let's see if Young is going to get him. Young should be able to get. Yeah, Young is by. So Young comes around into second. Laster comes out into third.
That actually finishes our stops effectively for the GTLMs. Ross Booth is the last one. He's coming in right now. So everybody in the GTLMs have settled out. Jason DeVries, though, in a big battle right now with Stephen McGarvey. Two champions going at it, and this is for P5 of all places.
They were racing behind Lyndon Swaby. Swaby came in. These guys stay out. DeVries and McGarvey. They jump them. They do the, I guess that'd be the overcut. And now they are out in front, working their way up. Don't know if they're going to get to Young.
This is like watching Alonso and Button battling for 17th in the McLarens. It's just, there's something that feels a little bit bittersweet about it.
Kevin Santana make his pit stop.
That's because we've never seen William Laster or Olivier Turcotte before. So
this is true.
Welcome to. That's why they're there. And you know, Mike Young. If I, you know, it's a common name, but I'm assuming that's the Mike Young that raced with us before. He's always been good.
Absolutely. Still fighting close as they come down the back stretch, but McGarvey's got nothing on DeVries now that they hit the bus stop chicane just ahead. That is Shane Hunter, who's brought his car back out on track with the severe damage on the nose.
Attaboy. I'm now a fan. I am now a fan of Shane Hunter. Way to go, buddy.
Look around the outside. DeVries fends him off. Going to try to take that defensive line through the tri-oval and to turn one. What's Steven got underneath him? Let's watch as they brake for this very tricky corner. Steven's got a fair bit of speed under the brakes, but just not enough of it. And then Lyndon Swaby trying to close in. This is now a three-car battle for fifth.
Swaby wants that spot back. Don't need to go there. I just want to give you a little time. Benefield now up by less than 3 seconds on Andre. I told you Andre's coming. He's coming.
Bill, we've managed to screw up both names. It is Turcotte instead of Turcotte.
Oh, but that doesn't sound nearly as tasty as Turcotte, but okay.
Well, but now you can trust him with your daughter, so.
Olivier Turcotte. I can, that's right. It was my sister. Still not dating my daughter. Olivier Turcotte.
This battle going to go 3 wide. Who is that up on the high side? That is Trevor Vavrovsky. And that is not... Actually... Well, hold on. My timing and scoring is going kind of weird. No, whoa, side by side through the bus stop. McGarvey with some brave moves, managing to get by Jason DeVries. Deep Freeze does not usually let passes like that happen easily. That was a monumentous move.
Goes the prototype car of Robert Cancion going around the top side. Oh my, where are you going, Jason? He's going to tuck in behind Cancion, get a little bit of the draft. Go down into one on the outside. That's not going to work, but what it is going to do is let Trevor Borowski get in the mix. It's not for a point. Careful, Trevor! He saves
Trevor's
him.
in a different...
I know, but it's right in front of Swaby.
He's in the GTD class. He really doesn't want to take part in this. He just wants to stay out of the way. Now, we can stay on this, but let's quickly check in with Taylor because he can update us on the lead for GTD.
Well, Kevin Santana made his pit stop, giving the lead back over to Alan, giving the lead to Alan Hasebeck, who just came down pit road, giving the lead, of course, now back to Kevin Santana. And looking at the timing and scoring between Santana and Mike Major, it's going to be quite a gap between the two, about 13 seconds. Now at 6 seconds now, as my timing and scoring has now finally updated. But it's going to be pretty much a Kevin Santana going to be possibly taking home the win unless a mistake happens.
To watch the battle back with the GTLM cars on screen. Just want to report too that let's not go to it, but Andra and Smith have dropped Gerard. I'm starting to think Jason's still dealing with a bit of damage, as he does not seem to have the pace that those two have.
But as the town crier, I'll get up on my soapbox and yell, Benefield to Andra, 2 seconds now, and all is not well for the fans of Benefield. Andra's coming.
It's going to be awful tight. Less than 10 minutes to go. So McGarvey, once past DeVries, had to fend him off a little bit, but he's made good on the gap. It is now about half a second between them. He's not right on top of him, so he can breathe a little bit easier. Tell you what, Alex Simonik in this class, the GTLMs, has put on a clinic today. 22 seconds from the number 250, our leader, back to car 21, Mike Young.
Quiet race for Young. He was able to get around Tricot, and then he was home free from there. He's been in second the whole time.
Let's jump back in this class once again to Jason DeVries. Unfortunately, he's having to play defensive yet again. Here is Linden, the kinetic driver. The number 100 car has the slipstream.
But look right behind. That is Paul Lindsay. He is also in this mix.
Swaby's got the inside. He's going to try and get it done, and almost shoves DeVries out of the way. No contact between them. Linden will not be intimidated. Now Paul Lindsay. He's got some momentum.
Get a little bit of a toe here. Get a little bit of a run. You're running out of straightaway. Let's see if you make a stab. Going to go around the top side.
They're both going to get a bit of a run, though. Oh, but he's going to be boxed in. DeVries has got the low side, but no place to go. Lindsay knows it. He's going to try for 2 for 1. Can he get the car tucked down to the apex? He tries, but no. A red car is there. Jason DeVries sneaks back through at the last moment. The track switches back into the International Horseshoe, but Lindsay tries the outside for a second time. Uses the rubber on the racing line to try to go deep. It doesn't quite work, but a spin of the tires from, that is Lyndon Swaby. Makes him go 3 wide up towards the kink. Lyndon backs out of it. Up to the front. 2 positions lost almost becomes 2 positions gained back as DeVries goes to the inside. A big bobble by Paul Lindsay, and the Western Horseshoe unfortunately puts him out of the running for that spot.
His eyes were bigger than his, what do you say, his right foot. Yeah, his brake pedal on that one, yeah. But he was having fun, man.
We're having fun. I love this battle. Now, Lyndon once again finds himself behind Jason, whose demise was greatly over-exaggerated. I thought he was going to continue falling backwards, but just a little bit of clever driving, and now he's regained both positions.
Ring my bell. Interval between Benefield and Andra now 1.5 seconds and closing.
We'll jump to that if that starts to erupt, but I think this is one of the best battles we've got on track.
Stay right here.
Look at the run that Swaby's got right now coming down out of NASCAR's turn 3 and 4. He's going to definitely put that pressure on DeVries there, Joe, but he's going to tuck back in and utilize the slipstream.
Worth noting, too, this is Ford versus BMW, and I'm still kind of familiarizing myself with where the BMW sits in its strengths. Is the Ford a little bit stronger in a straight line? Because it looked like Lyndon was struggling a bit.
It is a little bit in certain areas, but these two type of cars are practically in the same in power and straight line speed for the most part. And you do got to remember, even though it was a rain-shortened race for the 24, the BMW was the winner and one of the stronger cars at the Rolex 24 as well. So that BMW's definitely got some power under it so to go up against the Ford.
Just to follow up, Swaby was in a when Lindsay was there, he was in a Ferrari. So you had 3 different classes.
Oh, as he gets into the back of Jason DeVries, somehow pulls out of it in time, catches the car, and that allows Jason DeVries to get himself a little bit of breathing space. That's Tim McLeish in a GTD car. That's not in the same class behind them, so that's not a threat. Let's watch on board with Lyndon. With almost 5 minutes left to go. This is not what you want to do at the end of the race. So Lyndon now in 7th. Jason retains 6th place. Ahead of all of this, Stephen McGarvey has continued to streak away from them. He's got that P5. He's laughing himself to the bank. And I tell you what, Bill, Daniel Benefield may have taken a look at his F3 box and decided to turn up the wick.
Well, he had to go through that traffic that we were just watching there, the DeVries-Swaby battle there with Lindsay in it as well. He made up a little bit of time. I think he's safe now. He's got just about 2 seconds. 1.6.
Yeah, 3.5 minutes left to go. I don't know. Andra might get to him. I don't know that he'll be able to pass him is the problem. Whoa, Benefield is in a hurry. He just went 3 wide. He's using everything he can. That was between Trungale and Guillemette.
Yeah, he couldn't wait. It's almost down to a second now. Andra's going to catch this traffic at a good part. And not only that, he's going to get a little bit of tow off of Marty Jeffries. Now he moves to the outside of the interval. 1.3 and dropping. Get him within shouting distance, and Andra will dive it in there, take a shot at it.
Now, it is going to be very, very close on how many laps we're going to get, because Ulmer just crossed the line at about 3 minutes, 4 seconds left, and they're running 134 laps. So yep. I'm afraid we're going to have to watch very closely to see whether Ulmer gets the white flag or the checkered flag.
Well, I guess Andra is yelling for Ulmer, I guess, would be to speed up so that this thing, he wants as many laps as he can. So hustle up, John.
You got to wonder, too, some of these drivers who pitted a little early on this second stint, did they cut it a little too close?
Yeah. Traffic killing Andre. He's not going to be able to get there. He got stuck behind some. Robert Schlenka doing the best he can to make his car invisible, but Andre gets around.
Yeah, there's a couple cars ahead of Benefield, but they're spread out. They're not battling, so he should hopefully be able to deal with them pretty well.
Wow, the mosquitoes are out. Look at the sunset. This is great.
You lost me on that phrase.
No, but it's twilight. That's mosquito time, buddy. That's what you got to...
Okay.
Okay.
Just wasn't sure how it related to the sunset.
Oh, well, that's... what do I know?
It's Florida. The mosquitoes are always out.
That's true.
Yes, that is true.
Well, watching Jason DeVries, still only half a second ahead of Lyndon Swaby. He cannot relax. And you know what? Billy Smith seems to have fallen off the boat a little bit, because Jason Gerard's cut that down to only 0.8 of a second. This is a battle for P4. One small bit of traffic, and Gerard could sniff himself one more position past his rival.
Works his way around Sheldon Woloshin. Now 1.2 seconds back. Gerard is closer to Smith than Andre is to Benefield.
Seconds to go. Is this the white flag lap for John Ulmer? Let's keep an eye on him. This, I'd say, has been a long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
John Ulmer was not terribly happy with the LMP1 class. A switch back to the prototypes in the HPD has probably put a smile on his face, but maybe not as big of a smile as this race itself here at Daytona. He's known for excelling at the American tracks. The Texan taking that pair of headlights around to the tri-oval, and it's going to be the checkered flag. A win for John Ulmer in round one. Kevin Santana is going to be our next driver through. I bet Kevin is well going to enjoy this one, Taylor.
Yes, he did. Started on the pole. What a way to kick off the season here for Autobahn as he comes across the line. Your winner in the GTD class, Kevin Santana, from the pole position, will take home the win.
Just report that Billy Smith was able to hold off Jason Gerard. Smith gets 4th, Gerard gets 5th. Now we look at Alex Simonic coming back out onto the oval.
It's 25 seconds between himself and the number 21 of Mike Young. I think Mike's going to have some thinking to do, some studying, some practice to try to run down Alex Simonic, because this number 250 is just untouchable, at least at this combination of car and track. What will the rest of the season hold? He was a little bit mistake-prone. He won the most races in his class last season, but did not take the championship. Alex Simonic, let's hope for his sake that it is not a repeat this season on that weird stat that he somehow managed to get. Through NASCAR 3 and 4, Alex Simonic gonna be your winner in the first round here in the GTLM class of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge.
Worthy winners all.
Absolutely incredible races by them. Let's take a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. If you stick around on screen, you can see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. It's round 1 in season 8 of the Autobahn Sportscar series. Bit of a fresh face on the series, but not a fresh face for the winner, except if you watched last season. Jon Ulmer finds himself finally on the top spot once again, and in dominant fashion, we have to say. Daniel Benefield, who himself is no slouch, had no answer, a 24-second gap. Benefield barely held on to that second place. He had to fend off Cy Andra very late. Andra, who probably would have hoped for a little bit more, started in third, fell back all the way to the tail of the field in the very first lap, and then climbed back to where he started. Billy Smith winds up with 4th place, and Jason Gerard, who started on pole, unfortunately falls down to 5th, reversing what Jon Ulmer did, who started in 5th and finished in 1st. Carter Kundinger, a little bit quiet for him, which is a shame because he started 12th and wound up 6th. Henderson gained just as many spots himself behind him, Travis Henderson going from 13th to 7th. Kevin O'Keefe was looking like he could get a top 5, maybe even a podium at one point, but he'll have to settle for 8th after damage set him backwards. Dean Mole finishes P9, and then Robert Cantion rounds out your top 10. And the next slide, it's David Sockrider finishing 11th. Cantion was the first driver a lap down, by the way. Mark Wilson finishes 12th, and Lee Peterson, unusually far back here in the prototype, 13th for him. Dale Green takes P14, and Scott McGarvey finishes 15th. Let's go to Bill with the GTLM class.
Alex Simonik, wire to wire, gets the win ahead of Mike Young after Young got around Olivier Ducat and William Laster. Laster gets 3rd, Ducat in 4th. Stephen McGarvey, former champion, comes home 5th in class ahead of DeVries, was able to fend off Paul Lindsay. A late charge for Lindsay, and his Ferrari couldn't get there. Lyndon Swaby, we saw him put up a battle. He's going to be next. Mark Schindel. Joshua Howland-Wolf, well down the order. Ross Booth, big name. Boy, did not hear much from Ross today. Dave Hill, finally, 27th overall. He's in the, what would be about 12th in class. Now we go over, give it to Tanner for the GTDs.
Kevin Santana will take home the win in the GTD, followed by Chris Costa. He's one of the GTLM drivers. He'll come home 29th overall. Mike Majors will come home 2nd in the GTD, followed by Alan Hayspec, 3rd in the GTD class. Joey Trunkdale will come home in the 32nd position, followed by Tim McLeish in 33rd. Trevor Barvoski will come home in 34th, followed by Daniel Gralti in 35th position overall. 36 goes to Matt Owens, followed by Robert Schlenka in 37th, with Marty Jeffries 38th overall. Tyler Gomete in the 39th position, while Shane Hunter, unfortunate for him, had some blinking conditions with connections and unfortunately cost him where he hit the wall late in the going. He'll come home in 40th, followed by Gerard Gilbert in 41st. Art Peck will come home in 42nd, followed by Sheldon Woloshin in 43rd. Brandon Garcia will come home in the 44th position, followed by Sheldon Rosenbaum in 45th. Liam Quinn will come home in 46th position, followed by Ryan Huff in 47th. Another major front runner early in the race, Scott Corbin, had a great run early, but unfortunately with some incidents, he'll end up finishing 48th in front of Robert Jackman in 49th. Armando Edwards will come home in the 50th position, followed by Mark Kradowski in 51st. 52nd goes to Joseph Homan, and 53rd, Lionel Duprat with Jay Frells rounding out your 54 car field.
Up first, we're going to talk to our winner, Jon Ulmer, in a car that I know that he loves. So I have to ask, John, what has you happier? The fact that you got another win in the opening round, or the fact that you're back in the prototype?
Just glad to be back. It was a long year being away from iRacing like that. So, yeah, to come back and just get lucky in this field. I mean, it's just a matter of millimeters. I mean, it was dumb luck, but I'll take it.
Well, dumb luck or not, you really ran away from everybody else. The nearest car was 24 seconds behind at the line. I mean, do you expect to continue to have pretty good pace at the other American tracks? You always say that you're stronger at those.
Yeah, Road America, Road Atlanta, Spa, those are examples of tracks that I usually expect myself to be up front or close to it. That I'm going to struggle. I think most sport will be good. It's usually good for me. I've won a lot of races there, but it's those kinds of tracks. Most sport and Road Atlanta are kind of interchangeable. get to some of the more stop and go tracks, your squared corner tracks, which a lot of the European tracks are, I start to struggle with those. But I'm going to play to my strengths. I'm going to make sure that I'm really prepared and really focused, so I don't give Bill any more material. I make sure I'm focused on the tracks that I know that I can do well on, and try to maximize my results there, and then just something at the other ones, not really try to push too hard, because my problem in the past on the tracks that I'm not really that strong, I try to push too hard and end up making mistakes.
Well, let's turn to the series, because as we mentioned, sometimes you are essentially in charge of the Autobahn series. You've made a lot of changes this season. Granted, we have cars that we're very used to, but the new team system, the new licensing system, I'd say from this first race, it looked from our perspective to be a great success. How do you feel?
I feel, I mean, I couldn't be happier with it. I mean, just before the race even started, I felt really good about this. I think it's a good system, because it doesn't, I'm not big on the get rid of iRating or iRating per car. I think that's mouth breather talk. There are other variables, and this takes into account a lot of different variables other than just iRating. iRating still plays a part in it. It matches drivers up pretty well. And we have Jason DeVries to thank for that. He's the one who put in most of the work to make this a reality. And he's been brainstorming it for a few years now. So it's been in the works for a long time, and he's made it work.
Well, awesome stuff from both of you, especially you for a fantastic win today. I think there's smiles on all our faces watching you take the victory here at Daytona.
Thank you. Can I say one thing?
Go for it.
Out there to Tony Lamberti. That's who the Autobahn team is racing for this season. That's why we have the different paint schemes, and it's for stroke, awareness. If people who don't know Tony Lamberti, he's been a pretty for a lot of years. Helps people, the local guys in Texas here, make rigs. Doesn't charge anybody. I mean, he just does anything for anyone all the time. He's been a really good racer as well. Very fast guy. Well, he had a stroke last year. He has not been able to race since. So he watches all the broadcasts. He watches the streams. Sits there on his TV in his living room anytime it's on, because he loves iRacing that much. So we're racing for him this year. I had to throw away my familiar green and black colors so we could run for Lamberti Racing.
Well, the cars look beautiful. We see the stroke awareness there on your rear ring white right now, and we hope to talk to you more this season, sir.
Thank you.
That was John Ulmer, our winner in the prototype class. Up next, we've got our winner in the GTLMs. Bill is caught up with Alex Simonic.
Alex, a sign of a good race driver. They make something tough look easy. Man, you really picked him up, put him down today. Nice job.
Yeah, I really have to thank my teammate and crew chief, Matthew. I had absolutely zero practice, and I was in class, and I asked him to make a setup for me. Got home, qualifying started, did my first laps, and put it on pole, and then just ran away from there.
You got to figure that you're out there in front. You're saying, if I had to be at any racetrack, probably Daytona, the Roval here, probably not a bad place to save a lead. It's pretty easy getting around lap traffic today?
Yeah, there was a few times some GT3s gave some mixed signals, and we made contact, but other than that, it was fine. No one got spun or anything.
All right, it's the first round of the season, so help me out. What's the tire strategy going to be this season? Do you take them one time or on these 90-minute races?
Probably just going to be 0 tires. We didn't take any tires this time, and then maybe Le Mans, if we go there, it's going to be a weird tire strategy like we saw last.
Got it. Well, good luck. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you.
That was our winner in the GTLM, Alex Simonic, with a dominant victory. Up next, Taylor has caught up with our GTD winner, Kevin Santana.
Yes, indeed. Kevin Santana, congratulations on your win here at Daytona. Tell us how the race was for you, as well as how your car was for you today.
Wow, the car was great, especially after it got dark. The setup was kind of that. So I kind of took a gamble taking tires on the first.
Yeah, we did notice that when you were coming down pit road, you almost lost control of the car. How did that make you feel when you were coming down?
Yeah, I don't know why they put the grass so close. They need a little more pavement.
Yeah, it was difficult, but it was a great save for you. Early on, we noticed that you were able to have a good strategy. You took tires early on. Was that part of your strategy, or just due to the fact that you slid the tires, you had to come in and change those tires out?
Like I say, the car was set up to run night, so I wanted to have fresh tires as it got darker. So I went ahead. That was part of the strategy from the
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you run this season. This is the first time we get to see you now running compared to last season where it was two classes in one group of cars. This season, of course, with the GTD class, it is now you guys can go for overall in your class victories. Are you looking more excited for any tracks in particular besides here, of course, at Daytona, or is there some other tracks that you're maybe not looking forward to as we go on through the season?
Yeah, I'm not exactly looking forward to Nürburgring.
Yeah, Nürburgring is a very difficult track. Well, Kevin, we look forward to seeing you race this season, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That was our winner in the GTD class, Kevin Santana. Up next, we're going to talk to third-place finisher in the prototype, Cy Andra. Cy, let's go all the way back to the beginning of the race, because that really seemed to sort of set the tone of what your story was going to be. Into the first corner, you and Benefield going side by side, and you're the one that wound up turned around. What's your take on it?
I'm just really glad that they put those tire bundles further away than where I stopped, because I thought for sure I was going to mount that pit wall at turn 1, but managed to lock it down and get the car going before the GTEs came through. So I think that was pretty much crucial, because if I had to wait for the rest of the field to go by, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But I think that chase was probably one of the best drives I've had in a long, long time.
So Gerard had, I don't want to say similar problems, but also found himself at the back of the field and climbing forward pretty early in the race. When you saw him behind you, were you happy to see that? Did you think maybe we could work together, or were you kind of thinking, oh no, I'm going to lose time fighting him?
It was a little bit of both, because once I figured out that he didn't really have much for me in the straight line, I knew all I had to do was cover the inside into turn 1 and I'd be okay. But it was nerve-wracking in traffic when you get the run out of the bus stop and you pull alongside me, and I'm thinking, no, we're losing time to Billy and Benefield, and it worked out in the end, luckily. But I think if I had a little bit more cooperation, we might have gone to Daniel earlier.
So obviously this season you don't have De Vries to fight with for the championship. It's still some steep competition. What are your thoughts looking forward after missing out on first place in the points last season?
Well, I mean, it's been 2 years where I finished second in the points. I think this is the year where I just take the win already. I think it's been too long waiting, I think, honestly.
All right. So obviously, eyes very much focused on the crown. We'll hope to see you some more this season. Congratulations on a podium in the first round.
Thank you, Joe.
That was Cy Andra, the number 30 car, finishing third on track. Bill's got one last interview. This is with Olivier Turcotte, excuse me, who finished fourth in GTLM.
Yeah, Olivier Turcotte. Yeah, that's my name.
Olivier Turcotte.
Yep.
You were my pick to win this one. I thought you had a shot at it there. Did you enjoy your first race?
Yeah, actually, it's my first interview as well, so it's a little nerve-wracking, but everything should be okay. Everything went fine, I guess, except for mid-race issues, and actually, my last pit stop took a little more, took a little longer than I expected, because I forgot to uncheck my tires, so yeah, that's why I had some issues. But yeah, my quality lap, I was lucky to have draft, so that's why I ended up in second. But yeah, overall, a nice race.
You ran in second for a long time. You had Mike Young back there behind you. I don't know if he was just saving fuel or just waiting. Did you finally, when he did get around you, he drove away from you? Did you think that he was faster than you, or what was going on? He was behind you for a long time.
Yeah, he was faster than me. I didn't. I had some pace, but not enough to keep him behind me for a long time.
Are you used to multi-class racing?
Yeah, I race the ILMS, the IMSA series regularly on iRacing, so it's not unknown for me. I just need to get used to these guys. So there were some moves I was a little skeptical of, but all around, finally everything worked out well.
Which car did you drive and why?
Pardon?
Which car did you choose to race?
Oh, the Porsche 911.
You like that one, obviously?
Yeah, I used to drive the Ferrari, and then when it came out, it's just, yeah, it's interesting, so went over to that side.
Okay, well to go. We'll see you down the road. You're going to be able to make a full attack of the season. There's 14 races. You get 2 drops. You're going to be should be able to make a run at the championship.
Championship, I don't know, but I'm going to run most of the races.
Most of the races. Okay, great. That's what we want to hear. Hey, good to meet you. Great first interview, man. Let's hope to talk to you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Olivier Tecaccio.
Well, we'll get that name next race. So we're going to close up here today. This was a good one, even for Autobahn. I'd say this was one of their best that I've seen in a while. Just exciting stuff. Classic racing for the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. And for that, we have to thank John Ulmer and his team of people helping. You heard him mention that he's got the help of Jason DeVries, Jason Gerard, also Dino Topic, and many others. Too many to list. I really need to get it so that we can get their names on there because they do a lot along with John to get this thing off the ground each race. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. You can see them listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Bill, Taylor, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. The next race is going to be at Sebring. That'll be Monday, April 8th at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a very different track from what we have with Daytona. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.